what's unique about the path of Shakti and the feminine path is that our feeling, that our passionate involvement with the world and our experience of being in a body, of being incarnate as human beings, is part of the path. That we don't have to transcend the body. We don't have to be unfeeling. That in fact our feelings are a huge part of our path. And so if you relate, like I do, to being a deeply feeling person, then this path is a really appropriate, that's not quite the right word, it's a really supportive path, because our feelings are welcome. And not only are our feelings welcome, but our feelings are like juice for our practice, because our feelings are a manifestation of Shakti. That, you know, you would have heard emotions, energy in motion. When we feel something, we feel it as a visceral experience. It's very tangible, right? We can taste, touch, smell, sense with our feelings. And so it's like, it's energy. And so when we can harness that energy and know how to intelligently, I guess, channel that energy in healthy and helpful ways, then we have this incredible resource at our fingertips, right? So rather than, you know, spending all this energy trying to not feel or push our feelings away, we can actually be like, wow, I have this powerful feeling moving through my body, and I'm going to move with that feeling. I'm going to let it inform me. I'm going to see how it wants to move, what it wants to show me, what it wants to reveal. And then, you know, this inner alchemy of harnessing the Shakti of our feelings. And, you know, for me, how that looks, or how that's benefited me, is that I have all of this creative energy that I channel into my work, that flows through as words, as it supports me in my teaching and all of my creations and the way that I relate to people. It's like this, it juices us up. We don't have to be detached and removed from our feelings and from the world. We can actually be fully in embrace of it. And, you know, this is a path of Tantra, which is a more, it's like a more radically inclusive path. And, you know, I use that word with a little bit of hesitation, because, you know, the neo-tantra world seems to be quite focused on, you know, like, for example, orgasm and pleasure and, you know, that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but it's just that that's like a sliver of this bigger picture of what Tantra is. Tantra is a very devotional path. You know, Tantra is a path where it actually is not for the faint of heart. It's actually a knife's edge, because it can be really easy to go into kind of like overindulgence or projecting our passions inappropriately. So it takes actually a whole lot of discernment and clarity and courage to walk this path. But for those of us who are choosing to be fully here and, you know, who are naturally more deeply feeling and passionate, this is a really powerful path. This is the path of Shakti. This is a foundational principle of Shakti yoga practice that I teach, is that we work with our feelings. We work with the energy of our passion. These energies are already alive within us as a resource. And sadly, something that has been the result of the patriarchy that, you know, most women to some degree have internalized, is a dimming down of our feelings, or pushing down of our feelings. perhaps an expression of our feelings that are more projected onto other people in, damaging ways. That's kind of the other end of the spectrum, but with the same kind of underlying cause. Something that is very common in women is the fawn response, which you might have heard. It's kind of it's like fight, flight, freeze and fawn. The fawn response is this, you could say it's people pleasing. And I mean, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and this shows up for me still all the time in more subtle ways now. But the part of us that, because at some point in time, to be safe or to be accepted and to belong, we had to make sure that other people were okay. So therefore, we've like discounted or denied our own feelings and played them down, right? So that's kind of something that we can meet in our practice, in our explorations, is this noticing of, wow, it's actually really hard for me to access my feeling, or there's a challenge in authentically allowing natural feelings to move through our body, because that is part of the invitation in Shakti Yoga, is this, what would it be like if this feeling could move the way that it wants to move, and we're not playing it down or holding it back, or nor are we exaggerating it, right? So our capacity to feel deeply is in fact a superpower, and I fully welcome in all of the women that I connect with, that I have the great privilege to work with, the full spectrum of feeling. And paradoxically, through that allowing, we can experience great peace. A lot of the peace that I see, in the spiritual scene, even in the yoga scene, it's kind of like, it's not real peace. There are exceptions, of course, but often I see it's kind of like this spiritual overlay or this persona masquerading as some kind of enlightened whatever. So many of these more ascetic paths or transcendent paths are really about intense discipline, really rigorous practice. They're about denying the body of particular pleasures or comforts. And what I've noticed from my own experience in a female body as a woman, as a cycling woman, I need a practice that nurtures my body. I need a practice that nourishes my reproductive organs and that is responsive to the different phases of my menstrual cycle. I need a practice that is welcoming of me when I feel like I'm, emotionally distraught, where I'm allowed to make sounds, or I'm allowed to cry, where it's safe for me to have that freedom of expression, because I know that that's where the healing lies. I know that's where we can really integrate all parts of ourselves and then have this experience of, the fullness of ourselves, of our power, of our Shakti. And that's my wish for all women, is that we are free to experience the full range of our emotions, that we are able to really honor our wombs, our yonis, our unique anatomy, and the hormonal changes that we go through. I feel sad when I see women who are like involved in a really intense style of yoga practice that is not serving their healing, their wholeness as a woman. And that's why I am so passionate about sharing this practice, about educating women, but more than educating, giving them the opportunity to feel for themselves, to listen to their own body wisdom, to honor that body wisdom. Do drop into the comments once again if there's anything you'd like to ask or reflect upon or to share. I would really love to connect with you there.